Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greeting to all of us. My name is Getria Yuningsi, a student from English Department, the Honorable Examiner Lecturer, and the Honorable Supervisor. I would like to thank you in advance for the opportunity that has been given to me, so that I can finally make a presentation on the result of my thesis research with the proposal title Improving Students' Vocabulary by using visual media at 4th grade SDDCC Global School. Language is the most crucial tool for communication. Language is a medium of communication between and among individuals. Next, English is important for our life. Whatever the level of the student, there are four skills that the student need to master. There are listening, speaking, writing, reading skills. Objective of the study. Based on the attachment above, the objective of this study is as follows. First is to find out the impact of visual media in improving the student vocabulary at 4th grade student in the DCC Global School. Scope of the study. In line with the problem identification, the focus of this research is to find out if the classroom learning method affects student English learning interest and improve their vocabulary knowledge. The writer has conducted the research on the CC Global 4th grade student. The research was conducted for 1 month from 1 November to 29 March 2024 at 4th grade at the CC Global School. The The writer also limits this research by defining the subject and object of this research. The subject of the research refers to student vocabulary knowledge, while the object of the research refers to the new learning method using improving student vocabulary by using visual media for grade students of the CC Global School. Benefit of the study. There are several benefits of the study which are identified as follows. First is theoretically. To describe the theory used in the study are still relevant for the writer research and to strengthen their theories. Second is practically. There are for the 4th grade student of the CC Global School. This study will help 4th grade students of the CC Global School to raise their learning interest and vocabulary knowledge by using new method called visual media. Next, B. For English teacher. English teacher will have some reference to teach their student so that their student can be interested in the learning process. Next, C. For the reader. This research will help the reader who have lost interest in the learning English can evaluate the new method found by the writer. Chapter 2, the Theoretical Review. There are framework of the theories. The relevant theories have been indexed to support the discussion of this inquiry. The following the theoretical framework from the foundation that will be applied in the chapter ahead. The first is concept of English. English as a free language means the English is only used and functional as a learning is only used and fascination as a learning tool in an educational institution, both formal and non-formal. educational institution, but from and non-formal to formal, and is not used as language in social life and interaction. The role of English in Indonesia. The inspectable role of English become increasingly evident in tune with the exponential growth of technological advancement in the age of globalization. The concept of learning method. The extent of the right learning method is basically aimed at creating learning conditions in which the student can learn actively and comfortably, positive impact on learning outcome and optimal performance. Fourth is the concept of visual media. The use of visual media in the teaching vocabulary was basically to interact between the teacher and the student. The teaching media was media that was using to support the instructional between the teacher and the student. The fifth is the importance of visual media in the teaching vocabulary. The use of visual materials was useful and it was an important way of vocabulary learning. Other culture or country, it was not easy to know until remember the new word. We need long process to remember it perfectly. English teacher must create an a material that could make student new until remember it. Procedure of teaching vocabulary the visual media. The procedure of teaching vocabulary the visual media are as follows. First is the teacher introduce the subject based on the target language. Second, before giving instruction, the teacher explain the rule for using visual media and vocabulary. Third is the teacher gives the topic of the vocabulary to be discussed. Before the teacher gives instruction, the teacher gives the topic of the vocabulary such as stationery, name of animal, plants, fruits, animate, object, and etc. For the teacher give example by showing the visual media along with the vocabulary to provide language input to the students. The fifth is the teacher then asks the student to repeat the sentence or vocabulary that the teacher has said. Next, six. The teacher write the example vocabulary sentence on the board so the student can copy the vocabulary sentence into the Z books. Next, 7. The teacher asks the student to memorize the sentence they had written. Next, 8. And then the teacher asks the student to memorize one by one in front of teacher and other students. Next, 9. After the teacher asks the student to memorize one by one, the teacher asks the student to repeat the vocabulary sentence on the visual media together so that they can remember and understand them better. 10. The teacher asks the class leader to collect the student books so that the teacher can make an evaluation. Example of the activities before the teacher start the activity. The teacher must know them to be discussed and the visual media to be used is not too difficult and in accordance with the student background knowledge. Then the teacher show the visual media to the students. Theoretical acceptation based on the theoretical framework and the explanation above, the The writer believes that visual media is an effective teaching in the teaching vocabulary to students' ability. Visual media has several functions. Among them are to save time, simulate interest, encourage student participate, review, and make it share for student to describe, poster, picture, and findings. B. Reviews relate study. The following are some review studies used by writers as materials for completion and impression, including this research. B. Reviews relate study. There are first reviews research conducted by Ardian Levistianto, improving the student English vocabulary by using visual media at the 4 years of SDN 1 Kartasura in 2010 to 2011 academic years. This reviews research has the same research object with the discuss the improving the student English vocabulary by using visual media. Reviews research from this study is the research subject where in this study the research subject is student elementary school and also use the quantitative research method. Okay, now I want to explain about chapter 3, research methodology. There are methodology of the research, the type of research in quantitative research. Quantitative research is a specific research method that use quantitative approaches in data collection and analysis. In a quantitative research, data is collected in the form of numbers or numeric data, which is then analyzed using statistical and mathematical techniques. This approach aims to make sure phenomena, analyze the relationship between variables, and test hypotheses empirically. Quantitative research method deal with numbers and everything that can be measured thematically to infect phenomena and their relationship. Thematically to infect phenomena and their relationship, this method is used to answer a question about relationship in mixture variable with the intent to explain, predict, and control a phenomena. In the quantitative research, the research they choose what what to study as specific and renowned question get measurable data from participant analysis quantifiable data from participant analysis the number news statistic and conduct the investigation in enable and subject manners. Currently, two-thirds of the research articles are published use quantitative data, which is highly valid and provide a high level of research quality. Analyzing information from lab sample almost certainly question quantitative method. Table 1 Timeline of the research 27 October 2024 determine the location and object of the research. 30 October 2024 finding problem in the research. 1 November 2024 asking of permission to do research. 2 November 2024 searching relevant journal. 3 November 2024 determining the research method of PROM. C. Data source of the study. This study is a quantitative research that aims to determine whether there is an effect of visual media on student ability to write vocabulary in the fourth grade of SDDCC Global School. This study was conducted using a two-group design. The research divided into two groups. The first group was experimental and the second group was control. In the experimental groups, the research used visual media in the teaching vocabulary to, to prove whether visual media can be used in improving student ability in a vocabulary. The research The recent vocabulary learning the visual media as a treatment for 3 minutes, and there was not a treatment for control groups. The design of this study is described as follows. Next population. The source of data research was the student of 4th grade at the CC Global School. The population of this study were 4th grade DCC Global School. There are 19 students. The total population is 19 students. Next sample. The research selected two class of 4th grade students of DCC Global School as sample. They were divided into two groups, namely as an experimental groups consisting of 9 students and as a control group consisting of 10 students. The teaching used by research in selecting samples is by using random sampling teaching. This sampling teaching was used because there was one class from the CC Global School. The data collection. Data was collected through pre-test and post-test for the control group and experimental group. Number one, pre-test. The pre-test was given to the control group and the experimental groups. The test was given in the form of English vocabulary that asked to interpreter and interpret in Indonesia. The second, treatment. The treatment was designed for the experimental group. The treatment was given after the pre-test. The control group was treated with traditional teaching. 3. Post-test. Two post-tests were given for the control group and the experimental group. The tests given were written tests that asked respondents to write down an Indonesia vocabulary to be translated into English. The research asked the student vocabulary by using the statements procedure. The student experiments score were assessed by using the student assessment criteria of mastery grade for grade DCC Global School. 91 to 100 excellence, 81 from 9 very good, 71 to 18 good fire, 60 to 75, 50 to 94, less than 5 very 4. Table 3, the table of student experiments. Next, data analysis. The research analyzes the data taken from pre-test and post-test. The result of the test of the experimental group and control group were statistically analyzed by using a test for two groups designed to find out if there is a significant difference between the means of the two groups. The formula of test for two groups design is present as follows. Description, MX mean of control groups, MY mean of experimental groups, X definition of group 1 and group 2, Y definition of group 1 and group 2, and the last and total number of the subject. Okay, maybe that's all my presentation today about seminar proposal. And the last I say thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.